Hello, crypto world. Welcome to the Chart Historian. My name is Justin, and on this channel, I delve deep into crypto charts, exploring chart structures, fractals, and patterns. So in this video, I'd like to talk about XRP. I'd like to talk about what it is currently doing. And in that discussion of what it's doing, I'm going to throw out two different possibilities of what XRP could be doing right now and what it will do in the next coming days. Before we get into that, I want to quickly show you the fractal that would be the run-up to the great fake-out. And I just want to show you how that is comparing to today's chart. So here is that fractal that would be the run-up to the great fake-out. And as you can see, it is not following this structure with this move down. We should already be well into an aggressive move upward. However, we are not. So as of now, we could safely assume that we have skipped the fractal that would be the great fake out, and instead we jumped forward in time. Now, what am I talking about? Okay, so here we are on a zoomed out picture. This is the macro structure. It's a repetitive macro structure that XRP follows. This macro structure includes a bull run, it includes a decline, and it includes a sideways range-bound time. For those of you who follow this channel, you're very familiar with this. For those of you who are new, I'll briefly touch on this because it is central to understanding what is taking place today. So this structure, this bull run, this decline, and this sideways range-bound time has played out many times on the XRP chart. Every single time it repeats, it is a unique iteration of this idea. So over here we have a bull run, we have a decline, and we have a sideways range-bound time. It is much smaller, so it could play out on a large scale or on a small scale. And the reason why it looks different and it can play out on different scales is because when a fractal repeats, the timing, the height, and the depth, those will always be original to the new iteration. So it has played out over here again with the bull run. Yes, this was a bull run, even though it wasn't higher than this one. The decline, and then we are currently working on the sideways range-bound time. So let's focus on this sideways range-bound time because it is central to what is going on today. So there is fractal 1, 2, and 3. That's the way I break it up. In fractal 1, there are two parts, part A where price moves up and then it moves back down again, and part B where it goes flat. We can see that took place over here in fractal 1, part A where it moves up and then it moves back down again, and then part B where it goes flat. Sometimes this B part arches down a bit, not on this iteration. In fractal 2, we have three waves, wave A, wave B, and wave C, and we have wave A, wave B, and wave C over here on this fractal 2. In fractal 3, the basic idea is price moves up to a peak, which is part A, and then it crashes back down, which is part B. It then recovers, does a smaller correction before going into the bull run. Over here, we have completed the first part, part A, which is right here, and the crash down to the bottom over here, which is part B. Now, this over here is what I was calling the great fake out. The reason why I have many videos that are focused on this structure right here is because out of all the many iterations of fractal 3, this one has been the one that we have been following the closest. This one includes this wave right here, or this bounce, this second wave right here. So if we jump over here, we see that we have a bounce or a wave right here. It then moves up into this second wave or bounce. In that same logic, was prepared for this part to take place too. So this is what I was calling the great fake out, where price would move up aggressively, turn around, and come crashing back down. Now, as you can see with that fractal we looked at, it is not following that fractal. Now, why is it doing that, and is that a problem? No, it's not a problem. The reason why is this structure over here is doing everything that fractal 3 should be doing. Price moved up to a peak, which was part A. It then came crashing back down, which is part B. It is now recovering, and it will do this small correction, which it is working on right now, eventually, which could happen sooner rather than later, we will enter the bull run structure. So folks, we are very close. Now, it doesn't have to have this great fake out. This is a phenomenon that took place on this structure, but it did not take place on this structure or any other fractal 3 that came before this one. The reason why we had to include this possibility, this great fake out, is because it has been following this structure fairly closely. So what is it doing now? Well, in my last video, I talked about weeks, not months, to the next bull run. So if we were to copy this structure right here and paste it over here, it would look something like this. So this is this structure right here, this recovery, this correction, right before it goes into the bull run. Now, I have matched this to today's timing, height, and depth. So what is happening over here? Let's zoom in over here. So in my last XRP video, I talked about how we needed to complete this part. Well, it has been following fairly closely. Now, the timing, of course, is different. So price moved up, it then declined, and it did this bounce, which we see in the fractal. It did this move up to a peak and then decline, which we also see in the fractal. It did a bounce over here, which we also see in the fractal. It did not move up as high as it did in the fractal on today's chart. Now that is perfectly fine, as the timing, the height, and the depth will be unique when a structure or a fractal repeats. We do have the basic concepts though. So there is this wave right here, which would be this wave, which is more vertical on the fractal. It then moves up and does a double peak. Well, it moved up, but it didn't really get any airtime. Comes back down, comes back up again. So this could be that double peak. We are now potentially in this part right here. So this is where it bleeds into the two different options that I was talking about. So we could possibly be in this decline just on a much larger scale. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this right here and paste it onto here. Bam. So this blue fractal is this right here. So we could potentially be in the process of completing something like this. Now, it could be playing out on a larger scale than what I have here. It could be maybe something like this. I'm not sure. We'll have to see how that plays out. If it is doing this, this is what you should expect. We should expect this eventually to take place, and it may look like this. So I'm on a 4-hour candle here. This is back at the previous third fractal right before going into the bull run. So it's actually a little wave or bounce. So this right here could look like that, or it could be actually two of them. Whenever you see a move where it goes up like this and then it changes the trajectory, it goes at a different plane right here, that could materialize as two different bounces. So that is one possibility. So in this possibility, it could potentially go lower. Eventually, it will do this bounce right here. And then after this would come the bull run. And as we see here, it is aggressive moves up. Now, that is one possibility. I'm going to zoom out onto a day candle. The other possibility is it could potentially be doing this entire kind of structure on a larger scale. So if I was to copy this move down and this move up before going into that bull run, so this is the most recent third fractal, if I was to copy this and paste it on today's chart, it could look something like this. Now, mind you, the timing is not correct here. Essentially, here's the move down. It is doing this bounce. It would do this part next, and then it would begin to kind of wind its way up and then bam, this is where it would move into the bull run. Now, to make this a little more true to possible timing, now timing is something that I can't predict, but I want to make it as probable as I can. It would likely be something more along these lines. So right here, it says the 21st of April. We'll have to see. It could be shorter. It could be faster. That's if it is doing this option, which we're going to call option 2, the longer version. Basically, it's the same fractal. I'm essentially applying one on a larger time frame, which is this, and then the other one we just looked at is on a smaller time frame. We'll call that option 1. So option 1 is the one that we have been following. With this move down, it potentially opens up the way for a larger iteration of this structure. Before this move down, we didn't have that possibility. Well, we always had that possibility, but it wasn't really anything we could truly sink our teeth in because there was no evidence for it on the chart. Now we have some evidence that it could potentially be playing out on a larger scale than what we initially thought before this move down. So there you have it, folks. We have option 2 right here, the larger scale, and the purple one, which is option 1, the smaller scale, with this move down being exaggerated and just being a larger iteration of what this is right here. Let me clean this chart up a bit. So there you have it. That's the way I see things. I'm interested in how you see this. Do you think we are following option 1, which is the shorter time frame, or option 2? Essentially, both of them, and in the bull run, both of them are very close to the bull run. One just has a few more weeks potentially. Again, I don't know time. So this is just me guessing. It's my educated guess. Remember, it's just a guess. But either way, both of them are likely a couple weeks different from each other. So let me know what you believe it is in the comments. Now, I want to put my finger on the scale just a little bit, and you guys can take it or leave it how you see fit. If we jump over to Bitcoin, now this is on an hour candle. I believe we are currently working on this part of the 2021 bull run structure. I have been meticulously trying to keep up with this, and I believe Bitcoin has played out recently on a very small time frame. I believe it has already done all of this. It is in this decline, which is this right here. So if I'm right, I could be wrong. Bitcoin would potentially continue to drop further down. Again, it's playing out on a much smaller time frame. We would have this, and then this right here would be the final leg up to the peak. I don't know how high or how low this will go. Essentially, it would be this right here. So over here is that fractal. Now, this is on a day candle. However, it is playing out on an hour candle, really. That's how fast Bitcoin has been, I believe at least, progressing through this. As you can see, it has been a pretty close match. Now, I've had to adjust all of this at different points to match the current timing, height, and depth. Some parts speed up very fast, other parts go slow. But overall, I believe it is following this 2021 bull run structure, and this will be the final leg up. So if Bitcoin's going to drop, does that make the case that we are following the larger structure? I don't know. Anyways, this is not financial advice. If you did enjoy this video, it'd be much appreciated if you hit that thumbs up button. And if you're not a subscriber and you like this TA, I recommend hitting that subscribe button. I'll continue to follow up on this chart as it continues to develop. By the way, I also have a Patreon where I have a deep dive into the bull run structure. It's a 5-part video series where I dive into each part of the bull run structure. It's a repetitive structure. Attached to this is a Discord where we discuss XRP, Casper, and other crypto coins. I'm active on there, so if you would like to be part of that, it's a $5 a month subscription. The address is patreon.com/thecharthistorian. I'll put it in the description of the video. You're welcome to join. Others in the community post their thoughts, their charts, their ideas. We interact. I enjoy it. You're welcome to join. So, folks, that concludes my video. I'm so glad you tuned in. I hope you catch my next one. Have a great day, and bye for now.